Hi, Chanel.
Yeah,
So can we first know how you came to find out about the FRC, Eastern Los Angeles Family Resource Center?
absolutely. I was speaking with my service coordinator and expressed that this was very new charted territory for me and asked if she had any referral resources of any sort. And she actually put in a referral for you guys to contact me.
Okay. And so far, working with us at the Eastern Los Angeles Family Resource Center, how has your experience been? Have we have we contributed to your early start experience? Any positive feedback? Anything we can improve on?
I
Um,
mean, I will say that you guys were a godsend. I'm a first-time mom, and even though I work in education and I raised two of my stepchildren, this was uncharted territory for me. And so, um, I also didn't have a very positive experience with anyone leading up to the Family Resource Center. And when I say with anyone, even talking to the pediatrician saying like, "Hey, something's not right with my child," and her like, "Oh, that happens, like it's fine." Like every step of the way, it's been a battle. Early start program, testing, like everything was a battle. And so this was really the first stop that I had where it was really like a breath of fresh air and came with support and came with answers. And anyone really listened to what I was saying. And it was you that I actually first spoke with, and you were like, "Well, you know your child," and it felt really validating to hear that because up until then, and I had started this process at 18 months, and my son was 2 at the time, and so up until then, no one validated the fact that I know this child, I had this child, I spend 24 hours a day with this child, and so it was really, really refreshing.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And I'm glad we were able to, you know, like provide you with that validation and positive experience. Um, and I do, so yeah, you did mention like the early start experience. Nobody was really able to like give you kind of solid answers or, really like help you. Um, I mean, as of now, how do you feel that your early start experience, is with like the regional center and, all of the support you're getting there?
I'm not a complainer, but it hasn't been the most positive experience. And that has nothing to do with the individuals that I've encountered, right? I think they all have the best intentions. I think that they have a lot of families to work with. I've never dealt with anyone that was rude, that just flat out didn't want to help me. But with that being said, I did not get adequate support. My son didn't get adequate support. I don't even know that service coordinators are informed enough to give adequate support, in all honesty. There were many times where you brought something up to me that I didn't know about, and I would take it back to the early start program, and they would say, "Oh, well, let me find out. I don't know." And so that's a little disheartening because you expect for your service coordinator to be an expert, in the process, especially when as a parent, you're not. And let's be honest, the early start program, most parents are there strictly because they have sought out help, right? It's not like once you enter into Lanterman, it's like, oh, well, the teacher referred us and said something was off. Like, so these are parents that are really trying to advocate for their children, but don't know anything about it. I've worked in education for almost 20 years. I had no idea you could get an IEP at 3 years old, right? And so it's really like those things that service coordinators should really be able to support families with. And to be clear, they did absolutely tell me that I could go through the school district, but it was like a two sentence. I had no idea what that meant. I had to actually call the school district and ask them, so like, does he go to preschool? Like, what does that look like? And so it really had a lot of me doing the footwork. And quite frankly, I'm a single mom. I'm in the middle of a divorce, like knee deep in. I don't have childcare on a consistent basis. And so for me to have to try and take care of my special needs child that I know something is wrong, that everyone is telling me it's not, and he needs the minimum support. And then on top of that, have to go out and seek resources and answers is really challenging. And so, yeah, there's definitely improvements that I would say that the Regional Center Early Start program could really, really help with, starting with even just training for their service coordinators. Um, but I will say that finding you guys, again, breath of fresh air, because there were many times where I was crying and depleted, and you were like, "Don't worry, I'll send you an email." And when I was in a space to be able to receive that, I would go through, click, answer was there, call. And so I still had to do some footwork, but the fact that I didn't have to start at Google was like really, really good. So I would say that my experience with the Early Start program at Regional Center definitely has significant areas for approval. And that never got better, right? It's not like when I started with them, it's like, oh, well, we got to a point. Like even now I'm having, challenges with them.
Yeah. And so yeah, it sounds like your experience with them has been like a roller coaster pretty much. But I did want to ask you what you thought about your experiences with the mentoring that we did through Mind the Gap. And if you remember, we met for about since March, and then we just ended in November, October. So it was a few months, of us meeting every other week, based on parents' availability. And then we set goals for you and your family for Lex. And so how did you feel about the Mind the Gap experience? Did you feel that this is something that a lot of families with children with special needs can benefit from? Did you benefit from this? Did it have any, positive impact on you? Um, if you could just share a little bit about your Mind the Gap experience as well.
Absolutely. So in programs like this, I always feel like the data can be skewed, right? Because you have your parents that are not going to show up, not going to be participatory, and that's not a reflection of the program. It's not a reflection of the parent, right? It's just one of those things where sometimes timing doesn't work out, etc. But I think for a parent that is in a mental headspace that can actually do the program and complete it, I have nothing but good things to say. I mean, I fortunately was a parent that was in a space, mostly out of desperation, to show up to our meetings, per be present, actively take the information from our meetings and work it out in the home, have reasonable goals. Like I was able to say to you, listen, like that's not practical for me right now. Like in a perfect world, that would work, but like that's not practical. And having someone understand that and say, oxygen mask on you first, and then let's do this was really, really helpful. So for me, I mean, it was an amazing program. I was actually able to meet all of my goals. I was able to see significant improvements with my son. I just had his IEP meeting, and even though there were some diagnoses and things that came along that are never good for a parent to hear, what was really good was hearing, you know what, early intervention works. You've done a phenomenal job. Yes, transition boards, which is something that we discuss and we implemented, for him at my home. Like those are awesome. Like, and to be able to see that a lot of the things that I got from you guys that I implemented in the home are now carrying on into his IEP, and he's going to have access into school. And then even though it's an individual plan, like these are very common things that they implement, right? Like a visual board. Like, okay, great, my son's already familiar with that, we already do that, he already gets the 2-minute warnings. It's been great. So not only was it helpful for me, it's the after effects of it, because like you said, we've completed it, but I'm seeing the impact of the things that I had during that program really take fold, moving forward and helping him in his future. So, yeah, I think it's an awesome program. I really hope that more parents take advantage of it. I hope it's something that definitely continues, because I mean, being a parent, single parent or not, and having all of this to navigate is tough, and you need support.
Thank you, Chanel. I'm gonna stop recording now. I think that was kind of all the questions
Okay.
we had.